Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach, and I want to welcome you to a morning message. And I had an interesting encounter with a being by the name of Carl Jung, and he said to me, it's important that I discuss the concept of the locus of one's identity, the center point, the place where you think that you are you. He says this is something that has been discussed for many thousands of years, and individuals have tried to come to a fixed philosophy or a system of thinking that would allow or enable humans to formulate a pathway that would allow them to evolve the self from a limited perspective of being to an unlimited expression of consciousness. When I asked him, well, how does that really actually work? He said, it's important you understand that being what you are is more important than trying to formulate an identity of yourself. You only need to formulate an identity of yourself as a reference point for creating a greater expression of your being that is beyond that which your identity is established as existing in. What does he mean by that? From my understanding, he means that it's important you understand that your identity, who you think you are right now, is merely one reference point, one locus of your awareness where you are fixated in being who you think you are right now. And that what you want to be able to do is step outside of that, because what you are being right now can only create or produce certain effects and results in your life. And the minute you change what you're being, you're going to change what's in your life. He says there were many different breakdowns of conceptions of the self and the consciousness that have been prevalent in your society in the last 70 years. Ego, id, super ego, super consciousness, great I am, spirit, the oneness, many different terms that have been given to help one to comprehend the different steps in the process of an ever-changing self. He says one of the things he realized after he left his body is that the self is not a fixed mechanism, although many human beings have the ability to maintain a fixed sense of identity. He says that's very uncomfortable. When he was liberated from the form, he said, I was free to know that I am whatever I choose to be, whatever I choose to think, whatever I choose to feel. I am that I am. There is a self-identity that seeks to be merely a step, a foothold for you to evolve yourself from one perception of self to the next, each one greater than the other. This is a choice, though, for you can go in reverse too. You can get lost in the exclusively being the physical self, in which case your life will be bound and determined by the senses of your experience, which limit you greatly to being strictly a physical mechanism, and needing to experience a greater sense of self then would come only through the pleasure of your senses, which is a very small center of self. For the physical self, the sensorial self, is very limited in its ability to experience and express life. You, however, in what you choose to identify with, may liberate yourself from the limitations that the senses imbue upon you while you exist in this physical dimension. The pursuits of philosophy, the pursuits of metaphysics are designed to enable your awareness to expand beyond the established parameters of what your social conditioning, whatever culture you may be in, has restricted you to. If you began to understand your limitlessness, your capability to create that which you wish to create, you would not choose to stay restricted to a particular culture or a particular philosophy or a particular religion. The identity of yourself is limitless in its capabilities to manifest itself on scales that you cannot conceive of while in a physical body alone, but it can be done. That state can be achieved while you are in that physical body, a state where you recognize you are the sun, you are the moon, you are the earth, you are the whole of humanity. These levels of self-awareness or identity are dynamic and ever-changing depending upon what it is your experience of being wishes to be felt as. For you get to decide that. He says, most of what I had studied and learned have taught has gone out the window when compared to where I am in what I am. He's saying it seems rather trivial to consider that the contemplation of my identity from the perspective of a physical body exclusively was very limiting, which is why I pursued the path of knowledge as I did and expressed the information I did to the world, was to share this pathway. And there are many pathways to an expanded self that does not have to include suffering or pain, that does not have to include doubt or fear. If you knew these things were strictly creations of your own perception or ideas which were given to you by the world around you, then you would be more readily willing to grow and let them go. Like an old pair of shoes that no longer fit your feet, or old clothing that no longer fits your body, you would not go back to them. And so in listening to these words and in feeling the vibrations of them, there will be a change. For I cannot give anything other to you than what I have within myself. And if myself is not localized to any point of time and space, and you experience that, then your sense of self will change. It is the law. Like listening to your favorite song, you want to go with it. When you feel a certain quality of being, when you hear laughter, when you see joy, you want to go towards it. None of you would choose suffering by choice. But this is a very limiting discussion for me to be having. But I chose this at this point, for this one is seeking that path of limitlessness. It is a path that we all exist in simultaneously, but which very few of us individually know of consciously. But you cannot be separate from it. You cannot change the reality that you affect all that you can be aware of, just by the very nature of being aware of it and the qualities with which you're aware of it. It is important you understand this, that the nature of your awareness is such that it changes whatever it touches, according to the quality of that awareness. Your conceptions of God and your conceptions of love, your conceptions are merely conceptions that are amenable to your change. And if you are willing and able to change your conceptions of those limited ideas, then the experience of your world as you understand it to be will change, albeit quicker or slower, depending upon the amount of acceptance you have to that which you experience. This is sounding a little strange to me. Can we put this in under? He's saying, put simply, you are not exclusively that physical body in which you reside, nor are you strictly a gathering of this collective of consciousness called humanity, although you are that too. You can think of all these layers of awareness that you have as like the layers of an onion that never has a beginning nor ever has an ending. And you may choose whatever layer you wish to be on. He's saying that is all. But I got more questions than answers. So what then? I'm just going to ask him, what then is the purpose of life if we can be and do whatever we want to? He's just laughing and say, the purpose of life is joy. The purpose of life is joy. In whatever form you choose to receive it. He's also saying in whatever form you choose to create it. Whatever form you choose is okay. Wow. It's going to be really interesting for me to watch this over again, because again, this is amazing. The locus of our identity. So this body that I'm in right now isn't who I am. It's strictly something I'm using to experience this plane of consciousness. And I guess that's what we're all doing, isn't it? Wow. Anyway, thanks for coming by today. I want to thank Master Young. I just feel like I want to call him that. He just another label. He says, labels. He says, labels. Stop the labels. Remove the labels. Become limitless. Become free. Much love to you. Bye for now.